I was like, if you want me to live for you, then you need to give me the same Holy Spirit that you gave the apostles on Pentecost. You need to give me that same power, that same fire, that same everything, God. I want it, and I want it to the full. Please, God, pour it out on me. And I was asking for like a huge glass of water, just to be filled with the Holy Spirit. And God didn't give me a glass of water. He poured out a waterfall on me. He gave me Niagara Falls. He gave me the same Pentecost experience that the apostles had. I wouldn't say it's the exact same, but he filled me to overflowing with the Holy Spirit, with the power of the Holy Spirit, with the joy of the Holy Spirit, with the peace of the Holy Spirit, so much so that it literally changed me from a wimp, just like the apostles, into a warrior, which is why I go out and I preach Jesus today. I remember I was praying, so rise above that. Own it. Don't be ashamed of your faith. Know that you have the truth and ask the Holy Spirit to help you live it. I went to all my friends and I was able to stand up for my faith and share it, but only because the Holy Spirit was in me. And anytime I got afraid, I had to get back down on my knees and say, God, give me even more strength to do that. Or you just might stand up against temptation or peer pressure or sin, or have the strength to be virtuous and do what's right, to do what you're supposed to do and not fall into sin. There's so many ways that the Holy Spirit works. I remember when I used to work at a restaurant, there was this one big guy there, and he was like a huge guy, and he was bald, and he used to throw knives for fun. He was kind of psychotic. And I remember I slipped on a piece of ice at work, and I almost killed myself. I almost went flat on my head, and I was like, oh, holy Moses, because in the old days I would have said holy or something, because I used to swear a lot. I used to swear like every other word, and I had to work on that. And in order to work on that, I actually, every time I said a swear word, I said an Our Father, a Hail Mary, and a Glory Be, and that helped me to stop swearing quickly. But needless to say, I said, holy Moses. And this guy looks over at me. He's like, what did you just say? He's like, did you just say Moses? He's like, what are you, some sort of religious freak or something? And I could have denied my faith in front of this big guy and said, oh, no, I'm not that religious. Like, no, made excuses for it. No, we got to stop making excuses. I said, yes, I'm religious. He's like, Moses. I'm going to call you Moses from now on. And he made fun of me. And I said, that's cool. That's fine. And 2 days later, I heard this guy, his name was Joe. And I heard Joe, he was behind cooking because he was a cook. I was a waiter. And I heard him say that, hey, Jesus Christ. And so he actually took God's name in vain. And I went up to him and I looked him in the eyes and I said, hey, Joe, guess what? He's like, what? I said, I love Jesus. He's like, what did you say to me, church boy? I said, I love Jesus. He's like, get the F out of my face before I kill you. All right, no problem. And so I left. A couple of days later, I hear him say God's name in vain. So I said, hey, Joe, guess what? And he said, what? And I said, I love God. He said, what did you say to me? I said, I love God. And I gave him a big smile. And he's like, get out of here. I don't care about your God. All right, no problem. And I used to say that every time I heard him take God's name in vain. And one day as I was walking away, I heard Joe say to the other cooks, hey, I must have offended church boy because every time I say God's name, he brings it up to me. I don't even know I say it half the time. And so I got him starting to think about it. Now, Joe made fun of me sometimes. And if you're going to live for Christ, you have to develop a backbone of steel. You have to be able to take it. You have to have your share of being made fun of. And you have to own it because you know you have the truth. So he came up to me sometimes and he would say something like, hey, Brian, guess what? I went to church this weekend and it was awesome. And I think I'm going to become a Christian now. And I'd be like, wait, really? Are you serious? And he's like, no. And I'd be like, ha ha, you're so funny, Joe. And he'd make fun of me. And I'd wait a day till he forgot about that. And then I'd come in, I'd said, hey, Joe, you'll never guess what happened last night. He's like, what? And I'd be like, I got drunk. I got so drunk I could hardly walk. I mean, it was terrible. And he's like, wait, you, church boy, you got drunk? I said, no. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. And so I would give it back to him. But the fact is, I just try to make a joke of it. I try to just see the person. The more they make fun of you, the more angry they are against religion, the more hurting they are inside. The more they have issues that they may need your help with. And almost everybody at my restaurant came and talked to me about their problems because they knew that I had God and that I had something they didn't. And one day when we were in the back of the restaurant, Joe actually opened up his life story to me. We were prep cooking and he told me that he never knew his father. His father got rid of him at 2 years old, didn't want him. His mother could barely raise him. He basically had nobody who cared for him or loved him in his entire life. And to me, that was sad. This huge guy is almost breaking down in tears talking about his story. Now, why did he tell me? Because I didn't back down about my faith. It was real in my life, and he knew it was real. He saw it was real. And when he left that restaurant and went to get another job, he said I was one of 2 people that he actually respected in life. 2 people, not in the restaurant, in the entire world, because I had something that he didn't have, and he knew, even though he was making fun of it, it was real. And a year later, he came back to visit the restaurant, and he said, Brian, guess what? He's like, I believe in God now. I said, really? He's like, no, for real, I believe in God now. I had some crazy experiences, and it really helped me to believe in God. And I went out and I bought a Jesus clock, and that's a big step for me, he said. I said, yeah, that's a big step. Congratulations, Joe. And he actually believed in God. So people, when you tell them about God, when you share your faith with them, they're not going to believe you right away, usually. They may make fun of you. They may doubt you. They may fight you on it. They may argue with you, but pray for them. And over time, God can help them to come to know the peace and the joy and the forgiveness that I know and that hopefully you will know as well. This is what happens when you receive the Holy Spirit. He helps you to live your faith. I remember